Chris Allen MMA show. Today I'm being joined by one of the UK's top pound-for-pound women's fighters in the UK and Ireland. Actually ranked number 4 now. We need to get that up to number 1. It should be, really. You know what I mean? And she's done everything. She's gone to Japan. She's fought in the Ultimate Fighter House. It's Lanchana Green. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
No, really good. Thanks. Thanks for coming on. And I'm a huge fan of the Ultimate Fighter series. Is where we pretty much first saw you, wasn't it? You know, and
yeah,
I know that seems like so long ago now.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was going to start off with is something around that actually. So you just started your MMA career. You know, you had one pro fight.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see you for a while, did we? After that pro fight, first one.
No.
Why was that? I'd say.
You what? Sorry.
Why was that, if you mind saying?
Yeah. So obviously, I didn't plan on transitioning to MMA quite as quick as what I did. So I started in Thai boxing, and I was happy doing the Thai boxing. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but didn't really take it that seriously. And this fight with Michelle Nicolini came about because she was doing seminars in the Northeast. And obviously I ended up taking that fight, and that's how I transitioned to MMA. Obviously I didn't win that fight, and I'd had huge holes in my MMA game as a whole, really. So I took some time off and really worked on my grappling and hit a load of jiu-jitsu tournaments and just tried to improve before I got back in there.
That's fair enough. It's probably the best thing to do, you know, just make sure, get yourself where you need to be. And
yeah,
why did you take, fair play to you for taking a pro fight straight away, but did you not fancy participating in maybe an amateur sort of career? Or was it just because this woman was available and she was pro?
It was, like I said, I hadn't really thought about transitioning to MMA that soon. It's just, I was an active Thai boxing fighter at the time, and Dale Percival, the owner of Made for the Cage, he'd put up this post, and Michelle Nicolini was looking for a fight, and quite a few people had tagged me in it. So that's just kind of how it came about. And I like a challenge, and you know, I don't think I've ever turned fights down. So I took that fight and went from there.
Oh, fair play to you. You've got more bottle than I have, for sure. So give us a bit of background with the Thai boxing. How long? Well, so let's go all the way back if you want. When did you start doing any sort of combat sport, or any sport in particular?
Okay. All right. Well, I started Thai boxing first when I was really young, actually. I must have been, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years old, but I didn't actually like it at the time. I went to maybe one class and absolutely cried my eyes out because I was such a shy child. And all we had to do in this class was hit the pads a few times, but there was obviously parents sat watching, and it just turned into this big ordeal for me to have to do something in front of people that I just didn't like it, and I didn't go back. And my mum was pleased anyway, because my mum's Thai, and she's very old school, and she doesn't think fighting's for girls, so she never encouraged me to go back. So I kind of left it alone up until I was about 14. So I'd always been sporty through school, and I kind of went back to the same gym because it was a kind of friend of the family. And I went back when I was 14. I was just doing it for a little bit of fitness, and I actually really loved it. But then I ended up getting into a fight with some girls and realized I didn't actually know how to defend myself. And the next day I went to my coach, who was Paul Hamilton at the time, and I told him what happened, and it really knocked my confidence. So from then on, I started training just 6 times a week, just for something to focus on and get my confidence back up. And I ended up just getting really good at it, and I really enjoyed it. And he put me in for like an inter-club first, and then my amateur fight, and kind of just went on from there.
What do you think was different from before when you did it? Do you think it's because you matured more since, you know, having all the eyes watching, or? You know, what do you think actually made it more enjoyable this time?
Yeah, I think I kind of just, well, I think when I went back the second time, I was with my friend, and I'd already gotten a little bit of confidence just through doing a lot of sport through school, and but again, I was still really nervous about competing in front of people and things, and I actually had my first amateur fight, and I actually hated that as well. I ended up, I just wanted to cry all the way through that fight. And I got out of the ring, and we went backstage into the changing rooms. And I was like, Paul, I don't want to do that again. That was awful. And he kind of like laughed about it. And he's like, it wasn't that bad. And next day I went back to the gym, and he's like, right, I've got you another fight next week. I was like, what? Did you not hear what I said? And he's like, trust me, I've got you another fight. He's like, just do it. And I was like, gosh, I didn't want to, but I was like, fine, I'll do it. And I ended up having a much better experience, because the first fight was just like a bunch of windmills, and like it was a million miles an hour, and it was just, I got so flustered, and yeah, it just wasn't the best experience. But then the second fight I had, it was a bit of a better matchup. The girl had more experience than me, so she was quite technical, and it gave me a chance to put a bit of technique into practice, and I ended up really enjoying it after that. And so yeah, I decided to continue to fight after that.
Oh, he was really like your, well, fairy godmother's not the word.
I know.
Like fairy godfather. Let's
say.
How important is to have someone like that from day one, you know, just pushing you.
I know. Imagine if he'd just been like, oh, okay, cool, no worries. You know, like, I wouldn't be where I am now. It's crazy.
Oh, that's it. Like, what would you reckon you'd be doing now? Would you still be doing some other sport, do you reckon? Or
no, I was a really girly, arty, glittery, like I was into fashion and art and design when I started Thai boxing. So I wanted to go down like fashion design route. And I was actually doing a degree in fashion, and it wasn't until I'd done the first year, and I was working at a car garage on the reception, like on a weekend, and it was the summer holidays, and I was just complaining to the girl that I worked with. I was like, God, I don't want to go back to uni, don't even enjoy it, blah blah blah. And she's like, so why are you going back? And you know, when like the penny just drops, and I was like, why am I going back? And I just sat down and I thought, like, what do I love doing? And at the time it was Thai boxing. I loved it so much. I was there every day, sometimes twice a day. I was like, I need to find a way that I can incorporate this as a job. So what I thought I could do was eventually teach Thai boxing, but I didn't have a clue about how to teach people. I didn't have a clue about anatomy and coaching and things like that. So I ended up switching my degree and went and did one in sport and exercise science. So yeah, so then.
Enjoy that.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Yeah. And then that's kind of steered me into where I am as well today. So
it's quite interesting how you've got to where you've got today from actually not enjoying doing some of the things you've done, you know. It's very different from what I usually hear, you know.
Yeah, I'm not someone that was like brought up on like Rocky films and Bruce Lee and been doing it since I was little. I was into totally different stuff, and then just a few things clicked into place, and that was it.
Well, you definitely came in at the right time as well, with women's MMA just taking off so much at the moment, and women in Thai fighting. To be fair, when I watch Thai fights, when people post them online, most of the time, I'd say it's at least 50% of the time it's female fights in Thai boxing and Muay Thai and stuff. It's like there's a lady I spoke to before called Bernice Aldis. She was a Muay Thai champion. You know, Bernice, she's off. She's off to one champion. She's off to one championship after all this madness, you know. So watch out for the UK girls. That's all I'm saying. You know, we've got a few. got a few in the UFC now and Bellator and things, and that's what we like to see. So obviously you had this first fight, this first MMA fight, and obviously, you know, it didn't turn out the way you wanted to, but at the end of the day, you went in to fight a pro for your first ever MMA fight, so fair play to you. You learned a lot from that. So no disrespect at all, were you surprised that the Ultimate Fighter were calling you up sort of thing for an opportunity, seeing that you only had one fight so far?
Yeah, well, I kind of lied when I applied for the, obviously they have the tryouts, don't they? And you're supposed to have a 3-fight minimum. So I filled my application form in and I said I had 3 fights. And I just put down a couple of the girls that I train with as like the opponents and how I won and stuff. Obviously they're not stupid. So I think just having, because obviously by that point I'd trained in and competed in Thai boxing for a number of years. So I think that kind of stood me in good stead. And then I went to the tryouts and managed to get through that kind of stage. And then it was kind of like a waiting game, whether you're going to get the call. And thankfully I did. And off we went to Vegas to fight for your spot in the house. And I won that fight. So that's how I got in.
I know, it's amazing. It must be like a dream come true. So at the beginning, so quickly, and at the end of the day, it's a shame they don't add your fights on in there to your record, because you're fighting top level with girls in there, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you really did show, obviously, the changes you made, you know, and improvement.
Yeah.
So were you? So I'm sure you weren't, as you said earlier, crying your way through those fights, were you? You were quite happy to be in there.
Yeah, I was quite happy this time.
Yeah. So how did it actually come around? For example, like, did your coach say, "Look, the tryouts are up," or did you see something posted somewhere?
Yeah, it was. I think by this point they'd already had the Ultimate Fighter, the strawweight season, where it was all the females. So obviously they created the strawweight division, and I was like, "That's my division. Like, this is something I could do." So yeah, I think it was a public announcement for the tryouts. Anyone can go along, and I knew I'd only had one fight, but I was like, it's an opportunity, you know. You either take it or you don't. And yeah, so
the tryouts held. If I'm asking.
They were in Vegas.
So all the tryouts from the first tryout, all in Vegas, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So you've obviously kind of got to get yourself there. But yeah, it was definitely worth the chance of taking it.
How could you not take that sort of opportunity, you know, for sure? And that it's once in a lifetime sort of thing. And also you get to train with other great coaches, like you got to train with Claudia quite a lot, which I see a lot. I see your poster with Claudia as well. Are you still in contact with her from time to time?
Time to time, yeah, not so much anymore, but the odd comment and like and stuff on social media and a little message here and back, but that's about it. But I'm sure she was super lovely, and I actually went to train in Brazil after TUF, and she looked after me really well over there. So yeah, she's very, very welcoming. Yeah, I liked Claudia a lot.
That must have been cool having someone like her, even Joanna knocking around as well. At the time, Joanna was the best female fighter we'd seen at the time.
Yeah.
So how does that work when you're in there? Is it literally you train with just the one? I know we see you train with one coach, but did you ever talk to Joanna and have a chat with her about anything at all, or was it really strictly team and team?
No, like so obviously you would cross paths and stuff, and I did have a bit crack with Joanna because I remember training in Thailand years and years ago and watching her fight in like I think it was Lamai in one of the stadiums, and just watching her kick the shit out of like some Thai girl. And I was like, oh my God. So I'd kind of seen her like from then, and then to meet her again in person and see how she'd gone from just fighting in these smallish stadiums in Thailand to fighting in the UFC. It was amazing to watch, and I'd kind of followed her journey ever since then. So yeah, it was cool. I didn't have that much crack after that, because it all got a bit weird between Claudia and Joanna. But but yeah, it was cool.
Well, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious those two weren't acting when they were with each other too much. You know,
Yeah.
must have been interesting and to be amongst that. But what was it like? I'm always in. What interests me is like, what's it like just living in a house with loads of people with no entertainment really at all? What's that like? And also, I think you had men on the show that time as well, didn't you? As well as boys.
Yeah.
So what was that like living with how many blokes? That must have been a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was worried about that. Just obviously living with that many people. There's no doors other than the bathroom door. So obviously you can just hear people talking all the time, and there's not really anywhere you can go to just be by yourself. So it was interesting, and at times it was hard. However, the flip side was we got to just eat, sleep, and train every single day, and then fight for however long we were in there. And you had no other responsibilities. I walked around at straw weight, so I didn't have to cut weight. So yeah, like I loved it. I absolutely loved it. By about week 4, it got a bit repetitive, and obviously you can't speak to anybody else, and like you said, there's no entertainment, there's no books, there's anything like that. But no, it was cool. It was cool getting to know other people, hearing about their journeys, their stories, and just training with girls. Because at the time, I didn't really have any female training partners, so I enjoyed that as well.
Oh, well, if you train with the guys, you train with the guys, and then obviously train with the women without, I'm not being sexist, hopefully a bit easier in weight. I mean, you know what I mean?
In terms of weight, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I've always wanted to go into that Ultimate Fighter house, but I'm surprised. Actually, I know there's no doors because they've probably been ripped down how many times I've been into every series of the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. I've seen God knows how many, and always amazes me why they think they can just trash the house. It's not theirs, but just smash the place up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's an experience. It must have been like a whole Big Brother experience. There's a camera in your face every 5 seconds. It's like, can you just leave me alone? I just, we're English. We're English. We're not used to this sort of shit. You know what I mean? It's like we're the sort of people you say hello to, and we say, well, who are you? In America, it's like everyone says hello to everyone. It's a bit different.
Yes, they totally do. Yeah.
But the one thing is, they're very friendly people. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But everything's amazing, or fantastic. But one thing, the worst idea they ever done with Ultimate Fighter is putting alcohol in the house. I've never understood that.
Yeah, unlimited alcohol. Yeah.
Did you have a few bevies while you were in there?
Well, obviously, I didn't have any drinks until the end because if you're knocked out at the start of the competition, those guys just start getting drunk. But when we all had to keep training up until I fought pretty much the second to last day that we were there, and then Kate Jackson fought the last day that we were there, and it's literally she fought and then we're all packing up and we're leaving. So I didn't really get to party that much with everyone.
That's a good thing. You don't. I mean, you watch some of these, and I think, do you understand the opportunity you've got? And you're being pissed up idiot, starting fights with people. It's like, what's wrong with you? You're like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and what an experience you have. But hey, what a great experience you did have, and it was good that you walked around on weight, because I was actually very surprised. I forgot her name now. It was your third fight in the house. Fight.
Amanda Cooper.
That was it. I was surprised she made the weight, to be honest with you.
Me too.
I was thinking, that's Lanchana through to the finale. Done. She's missing weight. She definitely, no disrespect yourself, you could see it. She was just lying on top of you after that. And what can you do?
Yeah. That was. I couldn't believe how much weight she'd cut. And she did it as well. And the thing is, I think I was expecting her to feel it the next day. Maybe feel a bit lethargic, but she looked fresh as a daisy. Obviously, they do all the time, so they must just be used to it.
Yeah, maybe USADA need to come in and have a look at that. Nah, I'm only joking. I'm not taking anything. But hey, But I said what, and then not too long after that, you took a bit of time off again after the Ultimate Fighter.
Yes.
Okay, was that the same sort of reasons as before? Just to focus on training a bit.
Yeah, just make some more improvements. I was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu at the time, so I wanted to improve on my jiu-jitsu and improve on my wrestling as well. So yeah, I spent a lot of time training, and then went back to fighting mid for the cage after that. Yeah.
Wasn't it Bruni? Was it Terrell? Wasn't it? It was a draw,
Yes.
I think. Actually,
Yeah.
if I remember rightly. Yeah. That's not bad after all that time off. I don't think it was a draw, but anyway. But But do you know what I mean? I've got to try and stay neutral, but I find it really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when obviously you're spoken very highly about from people up your end of the world. For example, I'm good friends with Aiden and Jeff, from Shogun.
Yeah.
I do a lot of their matchmaking for them, and I know we were trying to get you to come on the show one time, but everything's bloody closed now, so there's not really a lot we can do. But hey ho. But so yeah, then you went to Rizin. Another again, maybe even on that part of the world, the same level of popularity as UFC has. So again, another huge opportunity, and just another great experience. And so, how did that one come around then?
Definitely.
I think you were 3 fights in, weren't you, when that came? Was it 4 fights?
3, I think.
I think you're 1-1 or something at the time.
Yeah. God, I can't remember now. But so I had a couple of fights at least on Made for the Cage, and then I was getting ready for Melanie someone, I can't pronounce her surname. She tried out for the Ultimate Fighter as well, a Dutch fighter, but she actually lost to Amanda Cooper on her fight to get in the house. So I was getting ready to fight her, and she ended up pulling out that fight, and I was kind of just ticking over. And then this opportunity to go to Japan came up, and I was like, "Yep, let's take that." So on about 36 hours notice, packed all my bags, got my classes covered, and off we flew to Japan, me and Will, my coach. So and then that ended up being, again, I didn't win that fight, but it was one of the best experiences ever. What a cool show to fight on.
Your opponent definitely looked like she'd been in a fight.
Yeah.
That was she definitely knew you were there. But again, you've taken it on short notice. You said not massively experienced. I say the UFC experience, I guess, is quite a lot to be fair. But and again, you're fighting another hometown person in a different country.
Yeah.
It must be obviously exciting and quite maybe nerve-wracking sometimes. But some people actually find it more nerve-wracking to fight in front of their fans, their friends and family, opposed to abroad, because obviously you've got no one there watching. So it's like, right, I can just go for it.
Yes. Yeah.
She's a tough girl. And also the lady you fought, she hasn't actually lost since then either. She's on a winning streak. She's 11-1 now, I think, and she's beat the champions and everything. So you definitely got to fight the best, nice and early on, didn't you?
Definitely, yeah.
So you must look at your career now as a whole and think, I've been doing this for X amount of years. I've only had this many fights. So I still say you're early on in your career, personally. I think you've got plenty of time left. How important do you reckon it is that you've had all these experiences so already and trained with the people you have so far? It must just be an absolute feather in the cap, and also just such an advantage for yourself.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I don't think I've ever turned a fight down, and I've always wanted to test myself and fight the best, and obviously I went into tough so early in my MMA career.
You did well.
Yeah. And I wouldn't change that, so like I've had a few losses, but I know like shows that they focus a lot on like records and stuff, but I'm like, man, as long as I'm fighting the best, as long as I'm doing my best, and as long as I'm enjoying the process, like you said, I still feel early in my career, and I still feel like I've got a lot more to show. So yeah, I'm excited for what's in store next.
Yeah, records are for DJs. I've
For
learned that.
sure.
I've learned that a lot from matchmaking stuff as well. And
Yeah.
I know people who can be 12-0, but look who they fought. You know,
Yeah.
they have fought literally people who've got 1-12, 1-18. I don't know, journeyman sort of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
and then they get, oh, Bellator have called you up. Oh, you got done the first round or the first 10 seconds. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I
Yeah.
meant by, like, it's so important you've had these experiences in
Yes.
Japan, in the Ultimate Fighter, and the level. Because in my eyes, you've got 2 more wins on your record with the Ultimate Fighter exhibition fights. Because weren't easy fights, you know. And well, first one was a bit easy. You dropped her nicely in that one, but no, that's one thing I've noticed. You've just got that grind. You've got that heart and just will. You just don't give up. I think you'll be going. Well, do you think you can go 5 rounds quite happily? I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I think so. I've trained for 5-round fight once, so I'm glad it didn't go the 5 rounds, but I'm glad I got to experience that. Maybe it's a couple of years ago now. So yeah, it was kind of tough thinking, God, that's like an extra 10 minutes of fighting. But you kind of adapt and yeah, you train for it. And yeah, I think I'd be ready for that.
Was that the Made for the Cage title when you rear naked choked the girl?
Yes, yeah, that one.
Yeah. She tapped pretty quickly then. I don't blame her either, to be fair. That was definitely hooked in. And you definitely, and just from seeing that, the improvement from tough to that, from your ground game especially, I've noticed as well. The ground game, the jiu-jitsu and just the control, as you said, something you've really worked on after all that. Yeah.
I've got like 2 first-round submissions. And I'm like, how did that happen? So yeah, I was all chuffed for those.
It's amazing when you focus on something, you know, and it must just, some people are black belts in jiu-jitsu, but they've never had a submission win. Like who was it? Roy Nelson, big guy, you know.
Oh yeah.
One of the best jiu-jitsu fighters you'll have, you know, but he never used it. He just used to swing.
Yes.
So I love that. When in Ultimate Fighter, he used it more, but that's it, you know, and it just shows that what you're working on and your coaches. You're at the lab still, aren't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys and girls up at the lab are obviously doing something right up there. How long have you been at the lab for? Did you do your Thai boxing there as well, or not?
No, so I started at Darlington Boxing and Martial Arts Academy with Paul Hamilton, and then the lab was created by my other half, and I kind of met him at the Thai boxing gym. So that's been open for nine years now. So I've been training there ever since it opened, and once I made the transition to MMA, I was still training with my Thai boxing coach as well, but then he retired and moved off to Mallorca, so kind of made the full transition to Will. Yeah.
That's cool though. It's cool that your partner's really involved in it as well, and you've got each other as well. Especially in this Corona lockdown madness, at least you can you can train with each other.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
What's been stopping you? So in this whole madness of lockdown, looks like we're slowly coming out of it now. But what's been stopping you turning into like a lightweight or a welterweight? You know, what you've been doing?
God. So like I said, we've still been able to train, so that's been really, really helpful. And I actually, because I run classes and I had to kind of move them to online, and I ended up joining in those classes, whereas normally I just set the workout out and just keep an eye on everybody, and this time I thought, you know what, I'm just going to join in. It's an extra session for me to do, and yeah, but don't get me wrong, I have eaten a fair bit, but I've still been able to train, so it's not been too bad.
That's the main thing. Yeah. I've been talking to a lot of fighters, and they're like, I'm at like 77 now. I used to be like 66, and I can't wait when these guys go, right, so the fights that you made for us at Shogun ever are cancelled. Can we move up 2 weights? It's like, no, get back down. So, what's your sort of plan now? Obviously, you've got plenty of time now. You're off. You're working out, getting ready. Is it back as soon as the events open up again? That's it. Straight back on the case again. Getting some fights.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I was due to fight in April on Cage Warriors, so that was going to be my Cage Warriors debut.
Yeah.
And they've recently announced that they're looking to do 3 shows in September. So I'm just hoping that goes ahead and I can get on that, because that would be cool. Just to get back in there and get back fighting.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Actually, you were meant to fight on Cage Warriors and it got cancelled. Yeah, and I was going because I was going to come to that event as press, but hopefully,
cool.
hopefully in September I think they still let some of the media in. To be fair, not the fans.
Right.
So I'm trying to swindle that one with Graham Boylan at the moment. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
But again, Cage Warriors, biggest organisation in Europe, a lot of people say, as well as the UK. And again, how many people from Cage Warriors have become champions and gone to the UFC?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that the ultimate goal? Would you like to get back on the big stage, or say Cage Warriors is the big stage, or Bellator, or UFC again? Yeah,
definitely. I'd love to fight in the UFC. I'd love to fight in Bellator after being there with Kate Jackson when she fought in Hawaii in December. God, that was such a great experience just to be around her and the promotion, and it was so cool. So yeah, she kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration as well to make it back on one of the big shows for sure.
Yeah, I like Kate. I think I did a post-fight interview with her when she fought at Bellator London,
cool.
I think it was. Bellator London. Yeah. I felt really tall again. I always feel tall in my interviews. I'm 6'4". But whenever you see my YouTube interviews at Bellator or UFC, you always got me here, and I've got to duck for the camera so you can see us because you've got to get the backdrop in. But no, she was lovely, and again, she annihilated her opponent there, and she was well deserved of that title shot. And I think she did bloody well, to be fair to her, And oh, look at you going to Hawaii, celebrity now, bloody hell. Hawaii, Japan, America. I'll tell you what, come to America. We'll put you in a house and feed you for a month.
Yeah, definitely get about.
Things could be a lot worse. But I'll tell you what, I'll leave. I know you're moving out at the moment. Okay, so it's been. I say I could speak to you for hours, honestly. But the next time I speak to you, hopefully it is at a Cage Warriors event. That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Need to keep the British ladies coming because again, you're. I said it's so important now. It's the fastest growing sport in the UK. You know what I mean? And women's MMA is just massive. It started with Ronda, or even before that with Chris Cyborg, and Ronda, and now Amanda Nunes she's looking at being on the front cover of the PlayStation games and everything now.
Wow.
So you know what I mean?
Amazing.
You can't take it away. So I personally think you'll get back there not too far distance at all. Let's get on the Cage Warriors show, smash it up there.
Yes.
And we'll see where it goes from there, Lanchana.
Definitely.
And also, what I forgot to say was happy birthday for last week, by the way, as well.
Thanks.
So what I see on your Instagram, it's like birthday week over. It's like, I just get a day. You get a week.
I know. Well, I had to stagger it because of the coronavirus and having little small group gatherings, which
you've got a lot of small groups of gatherings. I think I saw your other half barbecuing up on your Instagram. I know, bloody hell, we know all your life, don't we? Just from Instagram, it's scary, isn't it?
Pretty much,
yeah. But no, it's I say it's great. It's great to see. And before I let you go, please just give a shout out if you haven't, and if you can remember everyone, to anyone who's helped you get to where you are today. Any current sponsors and where people can follow you on social media and things like that.
Yeah. Bloody hell. Well, I'll start with Paul Hamilton, Thai boxing coach. Obviously, he's been a huge influence on me. Then obviously Will, my other half, my coach as well. Pete Irvin, he was there at the very beginning of my MMA journey, and I'm still good friends with him. And everyone who I train with, everyone who's helped me along the way. I can't thank everyone enough. And in terms of sponsors, thank you to Functional Self, CBD Life UK, Fit to Connect, and Mindsport as well. I think that's it.
Oh, you got some big boys' names in there. Nice. We'd like to see it. Hey, she's going to be in Cage Warriors soon for everyone listening. So get your sponsors in. I said most watched show in the UK. Come on, let's see it. and she'll be back in the UFC before we know it, I'm sure. Well, Lanchana, enjoy moving at the moment. I know it's a tough time. Actually, before I let you go, I've got one thing I want to ask you. Actually, I've got my first little one coming around in 3 months' time. So we found out it's a girl, and I'm an massive MMA fan and stuff like that. What would you say to the younger female generation growing up who might be looking at combat sports but thinking, oh, maybe it's just a man's thing?
It's definitely not a man's thing. Get in there and do it. Find a good gym, find a good coach, and don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because you totally can. 100%.
That's it. Hopefully one day I'll be calling you up to do one-on-one sessions with my little one,
All welcome. Yes.
That's it. Well, again, Lanchana, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's actually really nice to actually talk to someone as well.
Yes.
It's just nice to walk about 100 yards away from you. So have a great day moving, and I hope everything works out, and we'll get in touch very soon, I'm sure.
For sure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lanchana. Have a great day.